And hello everyone, welcome to the Trekyards Mission Briefing, your weekly dose of Starship goodness. We take a look at a ship from the multi-Star Trek verse, either games, canon, side canon, fan canon, reverse fan canon, which means official things that have then become fan because they've been side canoned. Every bit and bob in the Trek universe we look at, theorise, discuss, use our masses of knowledge of the Trek universe and work out why, how, who, and if. And we are continuing our STO month. So Stuart, how you doing and what are we looking at today?
I'm doing very well, thank you for asking, Samuel. And we are looking at today something that I can't pronounce, but that's okay. It's the Faeht Intel Warbird from Star Trek Online.
Romulan.
So, I mean, fight? I guess. I don't know. Somebody's going to correct me. But, yeah, that's what we're looking at today.
Now, as you guys might know, I went through the Star Trek Online sort of ship library and picked some different ships from different factions, some possibly familiar shapes, but different to analyse and look at. Because we love Star Trek Online, we love some of the designs, and now we've had some more opportunities to get these great shots, thanks to both Thomas Maroney for delivering us some of the angles, and Z Films for delivering some other angles at really high resolution. So thank you both of you for your always for your work on this, and then I also did other renders and such to scale. So Stuart, first impressions of this Faeht Romulan Intel cruiser. What do you think?
It's a mean-looking ship, for sure. It ties into the TOS look of the original Bird of Prey that we saw in Balance of Terror, somewhat with the shape. At least directly from the top. I mean, it's not the angled wings up, but, you know.
See,
you get the overall impression that it's definitely Romulan.
I love that you said that, because for me, I see Valdor because it's thin green, but yeah, suddenly you think TOS. I mean, yeah, it has like the parts of a Valdor, clearly that advancement, but you're right, sort of the way it's configured is very reminiscent of. That's interesting. Wow, that's good job, guys. Straight away.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah, I think I love it. I mean, this is a very cool ship, and I don't say that about every ship. I probably
Many
say
though.
That about a lot of ships, yeah. But some I just hate. But this one I absolutely love. And I would love to have this actually in game, because I think it's a cool design.
One thing Star Trek Online does is they obviously are prime timeline, and they're in the future, so it's a difficult, the future of the future of the future. They do go a little bit into the odd shapes sometimes, and especially for some Federation, because they've got to design a lot of ships. So sometimes these ships, I think if you made this a purple ship and changed 2 details, it wouldn't be a Romulan. It isn't a bad thing.
It could be a Jemadar very easily. Even change the direction. Change the color and direction of flight, and you got a totally different ship.
Yeah, which certainly isn't against it. I'm just pointing out that's how a lot of those designs go in the future, of this future. But as a Romulan design, it's got those clear hallmarks, and yet it feels very efficient. It feels... We've got a little blurb about what it is in a few pictures. This is just the initial first look. One thing that really strikes out to me, I really like the fact that the warp grilling is the entire rim of those nacelles. That's new, and I really like it.
I would concur with that sentiment. But, Samuel, I have a question, and I'm sure everyone else does too. How big is this ship?
Ha! Yes, I tend to ask you. Well, Stuart, I think... Oh, I know, I made the scale one. Stuart, how big do you think this ship is?
I have no idea. I don't even know what to compare it to.
Now, why'd you say that? Because surely there's always hallmarks of design of scales. Can't you see those said design things?
Well, I mean, I can see windows and stuff, but I mean, I'd say it's okay. Fine. Based on window length, window size and stuff, I'd say it might be 2/3 the size of a Galaxy class. Maybe almost as big as a Galaxy class. As far as length goes,
can you use a different ship? I don't have a Galaxy in this next scale chart. Can you give me a different ship, Stuart, so I can compare it better?
I don't know what you have in the scale chart.
Say to a Sovereign. What would you think compared to a Sovereign?
Oh,
there's a smidge longer. I was only going for update new ships.
Let's see here. I would say. Yeah, but again, 2/3 the same length of almost the same length as the Sovereign. A little bit shorter, I would think.
Interesting. Yeah, I do certainly think this ship is missing all that. If those, I don't even know those things are windows per se. If this was a fighter, this could easily be a fighter-sized ship. and those things are just details.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, which is interesting because if you look at the Romulan Dodera decks, that is like windows everywhere. Look at Valdora again, windows everywhere. So to push the design to suddenly lose that feel, it's an interesting. Does it make it feel more armored? Because it kind of, when you learn the scale, I think that comes in. But let's go to the scale.
What's
the
the
next
scale?
The next photo. This is the top view and a wide assortment of ships. As I always disclaimer. These are all original 3D models from the show except the Negvar and the Valdor, but they've both been scaled appropriately. Everything else is the ones from the shows. And it's the one on the top right hand corner. And I've done a nice little selection here, including smaller ships for comparison. So what do you think?
It's a little bit smaller than I anticipated.
See, you said 2/3 of an Enterprise D. Well, the Enterprise D is a little bit shorter than the E, and I would say that is almost, you know. So you were closer at the start, but then suddenly went bigger. I mean, you know, the Valdor is the size of the Enterprise D of the E. It's just the wingspan, so it's kind of, it's almost the equivalent of the Prometheus. You know, in terms of the scaling.
Well, length, yeah.
Yeah.
But for width, I mean, I think that's probably the same size of the Galaxy class saucer width-wise.
Longer.
A little bit, not much though. I mean.
Yeah. It's a weird ship because it doesn't portray that scale. I asked Thomas the exact numbers, and the exact number is 275 meters long, 63 meters height, and a beam of 473. So not huge, and that's, you know, Connie sized. And it's always intriguing when, you know, in Star Trek, especially when we're living, you know, with the heroes, these creme de la creme, you know, the flagship or whatever. You often see the biggest battleship, which tends to be bigger, defiant, exception, whatever. So to then scale that back and see a smaller ship, a cruiser, you know, these things are going to be floating around the fleet. I mean, they're going to have a dozen variants of classes. I mean, surely. So it's interesting to see 2409 for way in the future of these ships, and yet they've now, you know, it's not a huge ship. But what do you think comparing it to the other forces of the? Well, yeah. What do you think?
Well, it is, as I said, it's an intel class. It's an intel. It's for collecting intelligence. It's kind of a stealth ship.
Yep.
As far as that goes. So it doesn't need to be big like a battleship.
Yep.
Actually, smaller would probably be better. But compared to, I mean, it's still gonna, you know, kick the Prometheus's butt as far as the same kind of weapons and strengths, I think, based on its size. Same with the Sovereign. I think I might give the Sovereign a run for its money.
Well, let's skip straight to picture number 4, which is the blurb on the C-Store. And then we'll go back to scale in a minute. I'll just read out what they say, and this is what sort of sold me on it. This Tier 6 ship, so a high-end ship, is the pinnacle of Romulan engineering in terms of stealth and maneuverability. So you're right on one of those. It is equipped with a Romulan enhanced battle cloaking device and active sensor arrays that allow it to gather information about target to expose a vulnerability. The Trekyards Intel Warbird comes equipped with a heavy plasma lance. That's a new thing. This devastating weapon has 2 firing modes. Normally, it will fire a single heavy plasma beam, which is a sort of classic Roman staple, at its target that causes a devastating plasma fire. There's actually more that I didn't. Damn it. Okay, fine, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was more. But yeah, that's the basic summary of this ship back to scale. So it's the pinnacle. So I was intrigued that you said it could fight the Prometheus and Sovereign. I always put those in the category of, you know, really high-end ships. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's its focus. I think it could probably toe-to-toe with a Vorcha, which means prototype of the Galaxy, but I think it's not the battleship. But
it is a tier 6 ship, and those are the kind of bad boys of the Star Trek Online universe.
Well, they're the amazing. They're not necessarily all the most powerful. They're just all the most special. You know, there are bigger, beefier ships. You know, I'm sure the biggest, like the last week we looked at the Klingon, the big new Klingon battleship. I mean, I'm sure that could deny like this. Also a tier 6, it's, you know, the Klingon flagship. So, I don't know. I think the stealth aspect is really interesting. Or not battle cloak is. My assumption is that it's untraceable based on Shinzons.
My assumption, that's funny you said that. My assumption for battle cloak is that they can fire while cloaked.
Oh, again, based on Shinzons. Yes, but isn't that a breaking game mechanic? I mean, we've got the duality of this show being it's designed for a video game with limitations and 6 weapon slots, not 20 plasma beam emitters. We have to look at it as both. In reality, in canon, any ship that can fire while cloaked is a nuisance and menace beyond belief. But in game, isn't that a breaking mechanic? I guess maybe you can only cloak for a minute, 30 seconds at a time. I don't know. What do you really think about that? Surely that would break a certain thing.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but at the same time, technology has to progress, and we know for a fact that Shinzon can fire while cloaked. The Klingons had the bird of prey; they could fire while cloaked. It's just the next step in the cloaking technology evolution, and the Romulans would probably be the ones to master that. Would be my assumption. So when I hear battle cloak, that's the first thing that pops into my head. Whether or not that's what it is, because I do play Star Trek Online, just not a lot, and I don't ever recall anything shooting at me that I couldn't see. So I don't know.
Yeah, me too. Although certainly battle cloak does make sense. And again, you're right. Shinzon had it 30 years earlier, and it's in the same solar system. Surely, even though I know the Tal Shiar are basically annihilated, but say there's a couple left, whatever, they're scanning Shinzon's ship the whole time, thinking, I know they've just killed our entire. Spoilers, they've just killed our entire government. Let's scan their ship to find out how they fire while cloak. So. In terms of scale, Shinzon's ship was a big ship, and actually was incredibly maneuverable. So to build a smaller ship with the same capability, but in numbers, I mean, this can fly circles. I mean, just think, if you think of sort of the turning ratio, the Valdor has this, turning curve. If the other ship has a much smaller, for its size, I mean, that maneuverability will be a huge factor in battle. And I think this will be an incredibly deadly Type 6 at Tier 6. I mean, ugh.
Exactly, and for an intel ship to have battle cloak, I think, or a cloak that you can fire while cloaked, I think is very important.
A cloak that can fire while cloaked.
A cloak that can, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't do that.
Yes.
Sorry. But to be behind enemy lines, collecting intelligence and basically spying, you don't necessarily want to be seen. So even if you're getting fired on, you can. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, we don't know what battle cloak is. We are going on based on the name and its abilities, because it's the first look is based in canon. It could also be just a perfect cloak, which would go towards the stealth aspect. Mm-hmm. Could be the one or something else. What do you think about it compared to? I mean, you look at the Jem'Hadar cruiser, pretty deadly. The Vorchar, pretty deadly. Negvar, pretty deadly. I like I included the original Enterprise era ship just as give a little bit of context. You said it was similar in design. Well, you've got basically almost every generation of Romulan ship that we know. What do you think about now? You can see it put together.
And exactly what I thought. I didn't think of the Enterprise era one when I said it. I thought of the TOS one. Yeah. But now it's even very much more similar to the Enterprise era one, just with the shape of the nacelles on the Enterprise era one and the curves.
Yeah.
It's that visual touchstone that you tie in to the lineage of the Romulan ships. So.
I mean, it's clear to see though that is sort of the design, those forward pointing, pylons, wings. It certainly has a Valdor feel as well, but you're right. It's very much the Enterprise with a neck, and then obviously, but that's the top. Doesn't always give the. I mean, look. This does not represent the Deredex as it is in dramaticness. So let's look at the side scale now, and it's the one in the middle.
Oh my God! It's so small. It's so tiny.
Yeah, this was a weird one to say. Oh, that's the side, huh? Totally different perspective. I think it's fair to say, Stuart. Totally different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the original TOS Enterprise could tangle with this thing and survive from this view. Yep. It looks like something you'd see in TOS. So, yeah, that's very interesting. Well, that's the way with Romulan ships, though. Even the original TOS Bird of Prey, from the front, it's so squat and it's such a small profile that it doesn't even look like a ship. I mean, then you see the top view and it's like, it's a nice looking ship. But
that's why these perspectives are really important. But I mean, looking at this view, suddenly that Enterprise era ship, it's not far, it's not too much bigger in the sense, again, compared to the Deredex, which is obviously the beast of all beasts, But yeah, I mean, it's small. It has a different art styling to the other ships, the other Romulan ships. They've certainly gone for more glowing elements. It's more stout. I mean, the Valdor pushes the elements to the extreme. Mm-hmm. This ship is, really, they've got, I guess they've gone the Enterprise E route. You know, more stout, more compact, more neat. Well, to be fair, the Enterprise E, the Nova, and the Prometheus all much more stout. So it's kind of, I guess maybe they're finally getting to that era of stoutness.
Stoutness. I was just gonna say that.
Yes.
I thought it sounded silly. So
It did sound silly.
and
I
then you said
apologise
it.
to all our fans out there.
No, you-
Any thoughts? Final thoughts on scale, Stuart?
No, just rather surprising, especially for a tier 6 ship. I was just, well, you can get a tier 6 TOS Connie too, so yeah. Okay. Yeah, never mind. Forget what I said.
And the next picture was obviously the sort of looks like a trading card almost. We'll go straight to the next view, which is an under view looking up. And these shots was the film shots, a little bit dark, apologies. But any thoughts on this?
Again, like you said, that the addition of the glowing elements around the entire nacelle is very impressive and gives a nice glow to the ship when it's put up. Not a lot of detailing on the bottom. There's nothing really that stands out as far as even greeblies or nurnies, I guess. And
Again,
windows.
game models. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
game models are limitations, and they tend to put more effort into Federation ships because like 80% of players are Federation. So fair enough. You can though see with the reflection of the green, you can see some wing motif carried over onto actual wings. Or would you like to have seen that continue onto this bottom, sort of more of a dedicated wing motif?
Yeah. I think they should carry over the bird motif from TOS in most of the Romulan designs, in my opinion. So.
I don't know if this is the best bit to talk about it, but I can see a lot of glowing elements. I guess we'll mention it here. A lot of just, again, probably just because they're visually interesting, but a lot of. Do you think there's like plasma conduits linking towards this? This big cannon, this big gun, which as we can see, I think that tip is the weapon.
Yeah.
Do you think those represent the plasma flow, the energy?
Maybe it's just the neon lighting package that the captain got. I don't know.
To pimp out his ride.
Yeah, exactly. And you could change the color if you wanted, but
Okay.
no, I don't know. I think they could be heat dissipator things, plasma, something or others. It could be a lot of things. It's really tough to say. I think it's just more for visually appealing, but
Okay.
and we got another shot of it here from the back-ish, 3/4-ish, and is that in a really impressive impulse engine, or am I just seeing things?
I mean, yes.
Sure.
We have got After You later, but that is a hefty piece of. I mean, you talk maneuverability. That does not speak to speed, but this is a fast ship.
Mm-hmm. It's not a lot to discuss here. Actually, those two little circle things on each wingtip interest me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're like impulse crystals or warp stabilizers, or I mean, they visually look like a lot of other things that we've seen in Star Trek and know what they are. What do you think those might be? I mean,
Well, they're obviously one of the few standout details. Something that's there. And what it says to me straight out is it almost looks like the NX-01 superchargers on down pontoons. So, and it's, I guess, a natural place to put them. You could argue that the power's going through the wings to get to the engines, or the warp nacelles. Maybe that gives it extra boost or something. Again, a bit odd to have that exposed, especially in this era. But
they could be for maneuverability, like you said earlier, with the because you have thrusters or whatever on the wings like that. You can roll this thing and really
That's
maneuver
interesting.
it very fast.
Well, there's a precedent for large engines, so you give them dedicated moving thrusters. I mean, especially if maybe like there's something that comes up and then rotates a bit, so it's a bit more. I mean, movability is thrusting. Is not thrust. It's thrusters. It's spatial movement, and if you give them enough of that punch. But the next picture is a real close up, and there's a very high res image, so you can zoom right in. Clearly, windows aside. I do like all the little details here. What do you think about on the actual wing itself having each slit, I suppose, has a neon as well? I mean, this ship is neoned out. What do you think that does, Stuart?
I think this is very reminiscent of the Federation design that we see in Star Trek Online with the additional impulse engines along the strut.
Right.
That could be.
Ooh,
that could speak to that.
That's interesting.
I think it's probably one long strip, and it just looks like, because the glow is pretty even along the whole thing, so I think it's one long strip, and it's just got the cutout portions there.
Interesting.
That would be my initial thought. Just really long impulse engines, because we know that, like I said, they have them in the struts of the Federation ships for Star Trek Online, which is a great addition. So
sometimes, anyway, a lot of different designs.
Yeah.
There's also that little, I guess, cutout at the top.
Yeah.
It confuses me a little bit. It's cool. Maybe it's the fighter bay.
It could be. Maybe it's the cloaking battle cloak generator.
Exposed as it should be.
Yes.
But again, hey, if the ship's purpose is to go in, annihilate as cloaked, then just like with any, why have a bridge on the top? Yes, but the shield's there to protect. If the shields go down, you're screwed in any different ways. So if the cloak has to be out to give the most flexibility, then but it's meant to be in cloak the whole time. So therefore, it's not a weakness per se. It's it gives better functions. And I quite like the extra double neon. It looks like in the neck. It looks like there's a little bit of a space.
Yeah.
I
think that would tie into like the look for the Dare decks, kind of like the negative space that the Romulans tend to have. So
you got to keep that somewhere. I think that's a big trope. Although it's interesting, this view is where you see all the windows. There aren't windows at the front.
Yeah.
It's which I think probably not meant to be, but that could imply it's a forward-facing attack craft. So they've made sure that all the weaker points, all the because obviously a window is what's the transparent aluminum. It's a slight weak spot. So if you have them facing away from the battle, that's an interesting potential slight improvement in terms of design. But I mean, it's clearly this is where we see them.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of decks with windows either. It looks like there's a lot of space in there that's definitely not outer hull.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The next view I really love, actually, is the shot from the front. This looks very cool. Again, it like I said with the TOS 1, how there's from the front, it's very slim, very minimal. And this has got that same thing carried over. Love it.
It's it's actually very bird-like. It really keeps that motif.
Yeah.
It has a certain elegance to it. The way the wings come out, definitely a beak, almost has eyes. This one has a personality from the front, while at the same time being so minimal. Does that make sense, Stuart?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And the glowing elements. I just love the wingtips, the way that... But yeah, it definitely speaks bird. You see a bird that's gliding in flight, and that's exactly what it looks like from the front. So
it's not a bird of prey. It's a bird at glide. It's designed to fast and maneuverable.
Yeah, and quiet and stealthy.
Exactly. See, it all comes together. And there is negative space in the wings, and definitely that front beak is the cannon. I mean, that is a trope of weapon designs. But the next picture is the back view. You get a real sense of those engines, and you were right. The top wings looks like at least mostly one full strip, even if it's a little bit broken up. It's mostly. I mean, do you think those are all engines? Because that's a lot of stuff there to be engines.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume the three at the back definitely are engines.
Yep.
Above those two little ones would probably be weapons of some kind.
Yep.
Underneath, I can't see those being impulse engines. And since what I assume are impulse engines in the middle there are lighter green than the rest of the green that we see, even along the wing, I would assume that means a different purpose as well. So those long ones along the top of the wing, I don't think would be impulse engines now that I've seen that. So,
well, in terms of if we're going by color, I mean that's almost pitch perfect with the nacelles. So again, it could be that they have plasma, and maybe having this interconnected matrix of plasma vents that need the cooling of space. We're just saying things here, guys, but hey, we're trying to make it make sense. maybe that gives it the edge when it comes to sort of speed or the battle cloak or something, you know.
Or it just looks damn cool to have glowing elements, so that's why I incorporated them.
But that's the easy answer, Stuart. Why do we ever go for the easy answer? Sometimes.
Next shot is from the top again, and I really, really dig this.
That's
the
a
feather
good
pattern.
view.
Yeah, the feather pattern really looks nice. It's just such an aggressive looking ship. I really like this.
But they haven't gone for they haven't gone for the Prometheus style complete points. There's a slight circling out of the front. The pylon, the engines aren't points per. So it's a rectangle point at the front. And nothing is just a direct point. It's got certain elegance. And I love this. This one shows all the neons give it depth. I mean, having the light push out of the wings looks very, very good. As with all starships, certain views look better than others. That's just a situation. We're analysing it from all views, but this is a wonderful view, and this would be a great rave location, or even put this on your ceiling and all the lights and raving. I mean, this would be a great little piece of machinery. Very big ceiling.
Yes, what you said. Anyway, so that's it for this look at the Faeht Intel Warbird. Faeht.
Yep.
Somebody's going to correct me, and I'm going to.
Yep.
But anyway.
But this last picture is the first picture, and we can see the negative space more clearly. Closing thoughts, Stuart.
I didn't even know this existed in game, but I really like it. It's definitely a cool design and one that I would love to own for sure. So there you have it. I think it's fantastic evolution of the Romulan design aesthetic. It carries in so many tie-ins from the Valdor, the TOS Bird of Prey, the Enterprise Bird of Prey.
But it's different. Yeah.
But it's different enough. But it still is those visual touchstones, which I think are really important in design aesthetics. So yeah, absolutely happy with this.
Yeah, it's a familiar yet stylistic Romulan ship, which is great that you keep knocking it out of the park, guys. Seriously. And so there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. A Klingon ship last week, a Romulan ship this week. Let's see what is next week. Who knows? It could be a Ferengi. Probably not. But anyway, Stuart, hope you're excited for that. I'm excited. If you want to support the show, there's a couple of ways. What's the first way, Stuart?
You can go to trekyards.com. There's a big donate button. You can use your PayPal account, whatever. Yep. And one-time donation, $10, $15, $20, $1,000. That'd be kind of cool. But you can do it that way. Or the second way, Samuel. No.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I was going to let you double it. It's Patreon, guys. You know it. You love it. We hope you do anyway. It's a monthly donation service that for YouTubers like us, you love what we do on a weekly, daily, sometimes basis, and you want to support us just a bit. With enough of you, that becomes a huge help, not to keep the lights on, but to start saving towards new kit, new whatevers. The flexibility and the fundamentals is the Patreon, so please go over there and give what you can, even $5 a month, which is nothing. It really is nothing, less than a Netflix, and look at all the cool Trek guests you get. Helps us out immensely. If you can, please do, but if not, just share, and spread the word of Trekyards.
That's right. And it also helps support our other show, Fleet Yards, which, if you're interested in other sci-fi franchises, you should check out. And don't forget the Facebook group, Trekyards and Fleet Yards. Go check those out as well. Sign up, become a member. There's always some great discussions going on there. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything, because we release a lot of content. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. But
so until next time,
yeah.
I'm stealing it. I'm saying you are Captain Foley.
And you are Commander Calkins.
I'll see you next time.
And we are Trekyards.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.